class of 9s with black 5s and A4s. Bartenberg, C-Gleis, and class 15s galore. Union Pacific's big boy is insane. These are a few of my favorite trains. Class 37s and class 66s. BR218s come into the mixes. EMDF 9s plow through all terrain. These are a few of my favorite trains. Turbines and CEs and those Pendolinos. UKHSTs and TGV arrows. Japanese bullets as fast as a plane. These are a few of my favorite trains. The boss barns and the kids whine when the wife is mad. I simply remember I have a real jet, and then I don't feel so bad. Hawaiian Scoutsman and Swiss Glacier Express, Rifles TEEs, Wabash and Phyllis. The Orient Express rolls by again. These are a few of my favorite trains. A class of 9s with black 5s and A4s. Bartenberg, C-Gleis, and class 15s galore. Union Pacific's big boy is insane. These are a few of my favorite trains. Class 37s and class 66s. BR218s come into the mixes. EMDF 9s plow through all terrain. These are a few of my favorite trains. And the bus bars and the kids whine when the wife is mad.
This show is a not so proud member of YouTube's all encompassing special society of heavily overwhelmed layout enthusiasts. Check at your model train show, check at your model train club. Check on YouTube, you'll find one of us somewhere. Warning, the content of this stream is not suitable for children under the age of 16. The language, themes, attitude, and personality of the presenter was not suitable for his own children when young, and he was a permissive parent. Yet he behaved that way anyhow. Topics discussed will not center on trains and will focus on anything except politics. It just happens trains are running. Any similarity between characters, situations, trains, and intelligent thoughts is strictly a coincidence. And any rebroadcast or transmission of this stream without the expressed written consent of Major League Baseball is strictly prohibited. Viewer discretion is advised. Remember, rules for layouts. It's your layout. Do whatever you want. Don't tell someone else what to do on their layout unless they ask you what they should do. Do not call out, mock, criticize, or insult another channel or channel member on your channel. And happy Friday, everybody. How are you all? Let's see, who do we have here today? Let's get to the greetings right away. James Gibson, welcome. Thanks for coming back. Chris, always good to see you. The holiday was pretty good. A little tired. Lots of things going on. Steve Childers, nice to have you, sir. Brian, awesome that you're here. Let me see. Scroll down. Chris and James and Steve. Chris, James, and Steve. And Brian. Tim J.D., always an honor to have you here, sir. Lee, Anfield Road, how are you? Since you're in your loft and on YouTube. Joseph Agliato, nice to have you as always. One of our regulars, great to have you. Hey, Steve, it's hard to make it sometimes. Mark is here. There, where did I catch? There it is. Donegal Dad, Mark is here. Cool video today, making bushes and stuff to add to the layout. Nice color variations, really cool to have that. So I will try to catch up. I think I've caught everybody's here. We'll see who joins in later. Those of you who don't know, after a year and a half of doing nothing and going nowhere, Joyce and I kind of did a out of the blue. We booked it on Thursday and we took off for 4 days. And we got back late last night. We went on a little mini vacation. Joyce and I we went about three hours north of Toledo, 3.5 hours north of Toledo here. And we went canoeing and kayaking and tubing on a little river up there called the Chippewa River. And stayed at a hotel because I don't camp. I've had way too many bad experiences to camp. I put 2 and 2 together and figured staying out in nature overnight was not meant for me. There's only so many tornadoes and massive downpours and marching back through floods in my life that before I say, you know what, tents are not for me. And campers. Roughing it to me is a hotel room without a jacuzzi. But anyhow, we had a good time. A quick funny story, because it has a happy ending. Otherwise, it would be a aggravating story. Joyce and I, we went horseback riding Monday, and then Tuesday morning we got up and went tubing down the river. And somewhere along the line, Joyce lost her phone. Now, we are experienced kayakers. We have little cases, although we just bought new cases because our phones have gotten bigger and our cases haven't. So we bought new, bigger cases to put our phones in. And so we have these waterproof cases to keep our phones in. And when we're kayaking with our kayaks, there are places inside where we strap them down and hold them in. But we didn't take our kayaks with us because my son had our truck, and so we decided not to take our kayaks, and we'd just rent kayaks from the place we went to. But on the first day we were tubing anyhow, and I take mine with the strap and I tie it and double tie it and knot it on the handle of my tube, so I know it's not going to get lost. Well, Joyce had disconnected hers to take some pictures, and she just looped it around. She didn't tie it. So somewhere along the river, she lost her phone. We discovered towards the end of the trip that she had lost her phone. And of course, she's kicking herself in the butt, and we're going, oh God, how are we gonna, it's gone, how are we gonna find this? And, but we knew we were coming back down the river the next day. We were gonna, first day we tubed, second day we're gonna kayak. So on the second day we're gonna kayak, so we came back the next morning with a plan to look for the phone. You can follow it's a shallow river, and it's not a very wide river. And if these cases live up to their reputation, it'll be floating. And it took, basically, we kayaked up each side of the river. Hey, Leslie's here. How are you, Leslie? Did I miss anybody else coming in? And basically, we each paddled down one side of the river. And at certain places where there was too much underbrush or anything for us to visually look, I would take my phone and I would call Joyce's phone. And about an hour of that, we finally reached, we start way up the river, but from the point where we knew she had her phone last, for about an hour and a half, we had looked, and we finally hit a place. We had already been kayaking for 2.5 hours or so, and we finally hit the place where we ate lunch the day before, and we're going to eat lunch again. It's about 12:15, 12:30, and we reach this little, it's a sand bar in the river where we can kind of just pull up the kayaks and sit in the boats and not keep drifting down the river. Well, I identified 2 areas that I thought, well, if we lost the phone here or somewhere right behind there, the current would have either taken it and hit here, or it would have kept going down the river. And so Joyce went to the side and was looking in where there are tree branches in the river and everything else, and paddling up to one area where it might have gotten hung up, but it's all where you can look visually. On the other side was a bunch of underbrush and that overhanging the river, where it went in there, you can't visually see it, but it's kind of hard to paddle over there and take with your hand. So I got into the middle of the river and I dialed. Doo, 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 doo. And Joyce had gotten ahead of me just a little bit. And so she didn't know I was calling. And so I just called her phone with my phone. And all of a sudden Joyce, I hear it. And she starts mad paddling. It's right over there. And she paddles across the river in front of me. I wasn't hearing it, but she heard it. But I was a little further back. But she heard it. She paddled over there and looked in that underbrush for a bit because she identified exactly where it was. And we found her phone. It was pretty cool. Amazing. Hey, Colin, how are you? Nice to have you, Colin. Hope you're good. So out of freak it was, I had a plan, a strategy. This is how we're going to find her phone if we're going to find it. And we actually found her phone 24 hours later. It had floated into an eddy where the current had taken it. Because basically, are you on the left side of the river, the right side of the river, down the middle? If you're down the middle, it's going to flow on until it hits one of these other embankments, because the current kind of drives things left or right. And it's a very winding river, very winding. So it was, it was a 1 in a million chance, I guess. Although my ego was like, I had a great plan. If that phone was anywhere near in that area, we were going to find it. As long as it hadn't floated way beyond where you have to get out of the river, we were going to find it. I wasn't that confident, but once I developed the search plan, I figured as long as if it stayed in this area, we're going to find it. Now the other upkeep was would she be able to hear the ringtone? because her phone doesn't ring as loud. Mine's very loud, you can hear it. But we also have very loud rock and roll songs that you can hear. Mine is Motorhead's Ace of Spades, and it's very loud. Hers is, I forget the name of the song, but it's by a group called System of a Down. So, but yeah, she heard it, and it was amazing. That was a very happy thing. So we had a good time. We had a very good time. Tired because we tubed 3.5 hours on the river. The next day we kayaked 3.5 hours. We went horseback riding and canoeing. And then yesterday we were coming home, but we stopped off about an hour and a half south of where we were to visit our friend Deb. Now, Deb is the wife of my best friend, Dean, who died in September. But this is the first time seeing her, because right before he died, they had set in motion to move into a new apartment. And so she went ahead and moved. And she really just wanted to get everything out of the way and get moved into the new apartment and settled in the new apartment before outside of town friends came to visit her. And so we made plans for the remaining circle of friends here to get together, John, Deb, Joyce, and me. And we had a great visit, but definitely some tears were shed as we, it was, we talked about it, how the fact that they were at the new apartment in some ways made it easier because Dean had never been there. Had it been at the old apartment, his chair that he always sat in, the way it would have been blatantly obvious he was missing. But because because it was a new apartment, the chat was where you obviously missed him. But yeah, a lot of tears were shed as we talked about, because you're going to talk about, because John and Deb finally saw or at least started watching the Matt Clark stuff, which I really think Dean would have liked, and they were laughing at it, and enjoying it. And, Deb's like, yeah, Dean would have loved this, and, I would have hoped so. Hey, Jerry, how are you? Anybody else come in? Slowly building up. And so it was kind of hard to, it's the first time our group got together other than the funeral, and it was hard. And unfortunately, in the last few years, I have had several friends die of cancer or other issues, mostly cancer. Dean had hepatitis, cirrhosis of the liver, and then COVID kind of finished him off. He had been vaccinated but been exposed to COVID a few times, and so he got it anyhow. But COVID just weakened him, and then he took a downturn with his other issues. So it was, it's that. But anyhow, we got back home, and we knew that this morning, and they showed up at 8:10 a.m., a crew was coming into our house and going to drill about 60 holes in all the walls facing outwards in my house to replace the insulation, because all the insulation in our walls had eroded away. Our house was built in the 1950s, and they used cellulose fiber insulation, and it had broken down and all crumbled down to the bottom of the walls, and we were having inconsistent heating and cooling in the house. Parts of the house that were always hot and parts of the house that were always cold in winter. Definitely heat loss, and our local electric company said, we're sending guys out. Now the cost is $50, but you'll get a deduction on all this other stuff, so it'll actually be free. But they'll send out an inspector, and he just walked around the house with these X-ray heat guns and said, yeah, look, here's all your insulation down here, except the rooms that I had rebuilt, where I'd stripped to the wall and put insulation in, so we didn't have to have the whole house done. So it was going to cost a small fortune, some of my travel and model train money, but they give us so many rebates. It's going to take about 5 years, because they say in the long run, you're only going to save about $200 a year on your heating, and only $200. I mean, that's a train, locomotive, isn't it? it's you're going to save that much a year. And so what we have to pay out of pocket, well, I think when all the rebates come in, I think we're paying about $500 out of pocket. So it's going to take 2.5, 3 years to get that money back in energy savings. But the bigger deal is it's just going to make the house more comfortable. But unfortunately, I've got to go through over the next few days or weeks, whatever, and I have to fix and repair all the holes. I mean, they actually puttied them up, but I have textured walls, so I have to use my skill in that regard and make them look like somebody didn't just drill a whole bunch of holes across my wall. Hey, Michael McCarville, how are you? And Dwight Curley, nice to have you. So, yeah, I don't even want to begin to count how many holes. They're all about this big around. In the old days, to do spray and insulation, they would drill 2 holes. Now they just drill one bigger one. But and they puttied them up. They puttied them up, and they do a rough putty, especially since our walls are textured walls. They stucco and things like that. So I'm going to have to go back and use some skills I learned in the trades and try to make the holes blend in. I have to putty them up a bit more to make sure they blend in with the patterns on the wall. They make some spray paints that supposedly do this. I might even try that. But I've got 50, 60 holes in the walls of my house, in the drywall of my house, because they drill 1 hole between every set of studs, every 16 inches, and they sprayed. I thought they were going to foam, but they used cellulose again. But at least it's good for another 30, 40, 50 years. And it winds up costing a lot less. I mean, this was a $3,000 job, and we're going to pay $500 because we got all these rebates, city and government rebates to do this. So that was that deal. So Joyce just came home from work, and she is walking around the house looking, and these guys did a great job. They really tried to clean everything up and do it, but you just get sawdust and plaster dust everywhere. It's a disaster. So the house, we had to move everything away from the walls, and so all the kitchen cabinets had to be emptied so they could get into there. And so the house upstairs is a mess, and Joyce is just looking at everything going, we got to fix, we got to repair, we got to put everything back where it belongs, all the furniture in the living room. My daughter's room was heavily affected. So it's crazy. Hey, Tom Couples, how are you? Nice to have you. So I think that's mostly, so because we were gone all week, we didn't have a chance. We do have a song we're going to do, but that'll be next week. We didn't have time to put a video together. We did sort out the Nero issues on most of my computers. One of them, I deleted Nero off trying to reinstall it and still not working. But on my other computers, we got my video editing software working back. And it was their fault, not mine. They just didn't realize there was a server issue to my area or whatever you want to call it. But we got that video editing software. And what else? Anything else? So no song today, so that's either a good thing or a bad thing. It's your guys' own opinions. With that said, let's get some trains running. I have the GoPro. I haven't set it up yet. And I want to try something a little different. You tell me if you like it. But let's get the trains running. I will pop this up here. I'll get... I'm still running the Austrian Railjet, which is running in that diagonal picture up there, and now right above me in the background, and coming up the ramp there in the upper left-hand corner as you're looking at the screen. I got the Railjet. The ICE 3 is on lane 3 again, so those 2 trains have not been changed from last week. I'm going to be running an ICE 1 with the incorrect locomotive, but unless you know German trains, you wouldn't know it's the incorrect locomotive. So we're going to have that running. And I've got 2 of my 3 double-deckers out, so they're back out after a couple of weeks of not having any double-deckers out. I've got the yellow metronome, which I think you can see in a couple of the cameras. This mirror image thing drives me crazy. Oh, earbuds, not there. What else? And we've got the IC2. So I've got an IC1 and an IC2 going. And then right below me right now, I didn't change that train out. I'm still running that BR-143. That's a Class 143, German locomotive, Class 143. And it's pulling a couple of what are called N-Wagen. So that's what we're running today. I will get the IC. I just want to set this up real quick. If I can get this to turn on. Beep, beep, beep. So, how have you guys been doing? A lot of you guys put up videos. I'm trying to catch up. In a couple of your cases, I apologize. I've kind of skimmed through the video and gotten to parts where something really caught my eye. But I'm trying to catch up with some stuff. Any minute now. Come on. There we go. You're working, right? You're working. You got this, right? I wish it would quit changing to that. All right, let's see how you're doing. So don't mind me, I'm trying to set up this Wi-Fi cam. I'm setting up the GoPro and it takes a few minutes. Hey, Heath, how are you? Listening in the background from the top of ladder. All right, focus on the ladder, not on what we're babbling about here. All right, continue. And now, go live. Bam, that says it's working. That says it's working. So now let me do this. That says it is on. So now I have to do this. All right, I'm going to let you watch all the trades go around just for a second. Now, you guys all know about cab view, and last week I got my GoPro and I did a quick cab view. The GoPro is a little wide for some of the areas. That's my design, not the issue with the GoPro. If I had my tracks properly distanced, prototypically distanced, the GoPro probably could go through without a problem horizontally, widescreen. On one lane, there is an issue for it to go portrait mode as opposed to landscape or widescreen. But I'm at one of my lanes that actually can go through no problem in the portrait mode. But everybody talks about cab views, so I thought I would try something else, and I messed with it today. I thought it was kind of cool. I will share it with you. You found a Mark set. Hey, welcome, Conrail. You found a Mark set. Oh, and Bear Lane Stephen Price is here. How are you doing, sir? Be looking for us to contact you. I know we keep saying that, but we've had other things happening, and it kind of puts back stuff that's next year. But we will be hopefully getting to you soon. But anyhow, I want to see if I can do this. The screen may go black for a minute. Bear with me. I think I've got the mic on this one, so you should still hear me. We should still be okay. Bingo, there we are. So let's have a little fun. You guys have heard of cab view? Get down, stay down, you darn tape. Uh-oh, did I just lose something? No, that's somebody texting me. Anyhow, this will be a few seconds delay. But let's have a little fun and do passenger view. This would be like you're sitting in the side of a passenger train. Looking out the window. I probably should put some kind of design on this, some sort of overlay on this to make it look like a train window. But let's see if you guys think this is cool. We'll do a lap with this and see how you like it. And while that's happening, let's do this. Whoops, wrong way. Or was it? Nope, that's the right way. And trying to get this all going. There we go. Oh, that's all right. That sounds cool. Andrew is here. How are you, Andrew Turnage? Nice to have you here. But we're doing a, and I can turn the camera around and have it face out, but this way it's facing into the tracks as opposed to outwards. But you guys tell me. So I call this the passenger view. Everybody does a cab view, so I'm doing a passenger view. Oh, I was going to turn that on, but the one guy's not working. But I found this interesting because I've never done this. I've done lots of cab views even back in the past. And then last week we were doing cab views, but it had been a while since I'd done a cab view. But also it's like when you're sitting on a train and you go around a corner, you see the locomotive and the cars in front of you. So I really liked that. Now if I had a really cool scenery done, if I had a Luke Town, Everard Junction, and all you guys going. Now, the camera does sit a little high. I could not find a car with a low enough bed. Ooh, a couple of my deer are down. Well, at least one of them are. Oh dear. That's a pun. Oh dear. Now, I'm going to try something else here, so bear with me a second. Ah, come on, stay on, stay on. Darn it, why are you guys... we're good, we're good. Unfortunately, not all my trains are lit up today, so, but when he comes back around, so you might not see anything for a while, but maybe he'll catch a few places. So right now, yeah, nice close-up view of the flickering inside of my metronome there. Oh, I've got to get those contacts working better. Heath, that doesn't work. I mean, your theory works, but it doesn't work in the car. I can't flip it over. It won't fit inside of the car. It's not on an empty flatbed. Because, yeah, otherwise I could do that. It is sitting in a car that's holding it, and the lens actually sits on top of the edge of it. So I can't flip the camera over. Flipping the camera over would actually make it higher. where's he at now? So I don't know. I didn't know if the nighttime view would seem really cool. I'm trying to figure out where he's at. But this view's probably not impressing anybody right now. But I think once he gets to the station, you might get some cool stuff. Oh, I forgot to turn those on. You would have gotten the bus scene, but by the time I get him plugged in, because yeah, he's about 5 seconds behind, and the ICE goes in his way. All right, I know you're not seeing much. It's in the dark, but I thought once we got here, this view might look kind of cool. The bus station all lit up. And then I'll turn the lights back on and go to all views again. But I thought this might be a really cool view. Alright, I can turn the lights back on because that's it. He has circumnavigated the thing in the dark. Ta-da! So I thought that night view might be kind of cool going through the station. Hey, Hardcore, how are you? Anybody else come in? Ray is here. Ray Bobo, how are you? DB Tech is here. Oh, I owe you money. I got to get that out to you. I got distracted. We started making quick vacation plans and then went out of town for 4 or 5 days here and got distracted. Ewan is here. Nice to have you. Just came in. Now, while you're watching trains go round, one other thing. I knew I knew there was one other thing I wanted to talk about that I put in the lead intro. Last Saturday and Sunday, after I got the GoPro working, I spent several hours, most of the day on Saturday. I had already removed a bunch of wires and things and cleaned up some things, but I completely rewired my Fowler car system. I put all new wiring in, new motors in, and I took out that digital box that I felt was the cause of so many problems. And we set it up in a different way. It was a 65-70% failure. Sometimes, like once every 10th pass, the bus would turn down into the bus terminal, and about a third of the time there, it would hit the turn and stop, but it was not remotely consistent. It definitely was working at times, but never consistently. Once it would go down into the bus terminal, that worked a bit more often, a third of the time to half the time. It would hit one of the two stops and stop. Getting it to turn down into the bus station still seems to be a major issue. That only works about 1 out of every 10 to 15 passes. So it was spent all Saturday, all Sunday working on it. So now there are a couple little tricks I can try just to see if that might get them to at least turn down consistently. But we know the motors are working because they all worked at times. One possibility could be that the read sensors, and do I have quick access to a read sensor? Stay right there, I'll get one. Let go. Okay, so I'm gonna take one camera out here and make myself a little bigger. All right. This little thing here, this is a reed sensor. Actually, this is a reed switch. I'm sorry. Anyhow. This goes in the Fowler car system. You'll have little holes in the track, like this is a piece of Fowler car track. And this will come from under the table, and it sits in this hole, and it's supposed to go right up to the level of the track. And it's kind of hard to demonstrate from here, and this hole is plugged, but they fit inside that hole. Now, this reed sensor is magnetically operated. What it does is, and you can see there's wires here. Those wires plug into a box. There are many different types of boxes. Like I have this big solenoid thing and digital one, all these. All right. Now, if you want a car to do automatic turning or automatic stopping, you have to install reed sensors, and you have to install this little magnet on the bottom of your Fowler car. And what happens is, when the magnet gets within so many inches of the reed sensor, the reed sensor reads the magnetic field of the magnet, and it then sends the message, because it's activated by the magnet. You know, this is all electromagnetic. Everything about the Fowler car system is electromagnetic. So when it reads the magnetic field, it sends the message down the wire to the box that controls the motor. Whether it's a turnout motor, a stop motor, or whatever. And then it activates the motor. So the motor will create a magnetic field that pops. You know, there's a wire on your track, and it creates a little magnetic impulse, and on top of this, I don't know how well you can see that. I'll hold it up here. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little magnet. There you can see it pretty well. There's a little magnet on the ski here. It magnetizes the ski to the wire, but also when you go over one of the turnouts, right after it passes the reed switch, an electromagnetic pulse forces the ski to either bounce up and change the direction, go on to a different wire, or if it's a stop motor, it creates an electromagnetic pulse that shorts out the motor, shuts down the motor. So anyhow, there's a bunch of these, and maybe they're not working well. After rewiring and all that stuff, maybe they're just not working well. And so one option is I replace all the reed sensors. Now, these tiny little things that go with the Fowler car system, I can get them from Germany, 3 for $22. They're about $7.50 each plus shipping. And I would need 2, 4, 6. So yeah, I need about 6 of them, 6 or 7 of them. So it's not a lot of money, but you know, with shipping it could be $70. But now I could get them from American stores, but it would be $80 with shipping. It's cheaper to order from Germany. Go figure. Anyhow, so that's the situation with the Fowler car. We had some limited success, but it wasn't enough to inspire me to go on, and it wasn't quite depressing enough to make me say I quit. Although there were times where I was like, just forget it. We'll just do the loops with the Fowler car, just let the cars run and not try to do the bus station stops. Yes, there is a difference between a reed switch and a reed sensor. A reed switch is like, when, those of you in the UK especially, it's very popular in the UK, it hasn't caught on as big in the United States. When you go to put individual lighting in your cars that are, where you do those magnetic operated ones, those are latching reed switches. Okay? So a reed sensor reads a magnetic field. A reed switch reads a magnetic field and changes from open to close or close to open. or you get a latching reed switch where as long as there are open reed switches and closed reed switches. Open means that's their default state, and when you apply a magnetic field, they close and complete the circuit. But as soon as you remove the magnetic field, they resort back to open. So that's why they're called open. Their static state is open. Closed keeps the current flowing until you apply a magnetic field, which then causes them to open and interrupts the magnetic field. But as soon as you remove the magnet, they go back to closed. A latching reed switch alters. You apply the magnetic field, and if it's closed, it will then open, but it stays open. That's why it's called latching. And when you have to reapply the magnetic force to close it again. So that's why you see a lot of guys, like even John Warner did some of this like a year or so ago, and he was demonstrating you just wave the magnet over the cars and all the lights go on in the cars. And it's a much cheaper alternative because you can light up a passenger wagon for about $3 per car, whereas for me in the Fowler car system, or not the Fowler car system, to buy a lighting system for Pico, Rocco, or Merklin, it would cost anywhere from $15 to $25 a car, maybe even $30, $35 a car for some of them to put in lights. So it's much cheaper if you don't mind having a little magic wand magnet that you wave over the car. But you wave it over all the cars once, boom, it's on. Now, of course, there's more to it than that. You have to have a power supply, which is like a watch battery, and then you just tape that all in or tack it all up above or wherever you want to fit it in. You probably want, depending on what size battery you're using, are you going to put a resistor on to keep the lights from being too bright, blah, 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 all that stuff. There are people out there, and I wasn't prepared to do a whole show on talking about lighting. But I do have some car sets that would just cost me $200-300 to light them all up, but it'll cost me about $30 using reed switches. The problem is, since COVID, latching reed switches are nearly impossible to find. I spent $100 and got 10 of them from the UK, but I never got around to putting them in my cars yet because other things and laziness. The story of my life, other things and laziness. Yeah, Anthony, the Redneck Way of Life, passed away. Those of you know, I wasn't subscribed to him. I guess I'd seen him in a couple of chats. I know he was big on Lee's chat. But if you did know him, then you probably know he passed away. I've got 4 people that I subscribed to, and one I knew was sick, and they haven't done anything for 2 years. I'm assuming they passed, but nobody ever came on and officially said. So anyhow, let us. So and then I can take this camera off and turn around and go with the cab view. I would just have to stop it and move the car. But Joyce and I also have a family party. Her sister and brother-in-law have come in from Virginia, which is, about 9-10 hours or more east of us, southeast of us, east and south. They live in Northern Virginia. They're actually not far from the Maryland border. And Ray, you would understand this. One of their kids actually went to Towson University and graduated from Towson University years ago. But yeah, she's in town, and they're having a family get-together today, which, they set this up, but it just, Joyce and I would rather not be going out today, but we got to go see. We're tired. It's been a long week, and we've got a house that is totally mangled upstairs. Oops. Oh, there we go. So I'm glad you guys kind of like the passenger view. I think it gave me a little bit new view of my layout. Now you don't see the trains going next to you. You know, you're above the trains. I wonder. I've got one car that's got a really low flatbed. The problem is the car does not like the weight of the phone. It was the first car I wanted to use with the phone. Hey, Thomas, how are you? St. Peter's Layout Thomas is here. Good to have you here. I'm going to wait for this to come back around, but let's see. Yeah, there's the ICE running through, and let's go back up the ramp. We got the Railjet coming. You guys all know the Railjet by now, the gorgeous Austrian Railjet. Obviously one of my favorite trains. Yeah, coming through the station. I was a little slow there. Catching them on Village View, just as the ICE3 is running through the station now. Village View. And now coming into your living room, or wherever you're at. Hey, Roy, how are you? There's that ICE coming through. ICE3. We got a lot of guys coming through, but there's the camera guy coming through here. So let us go. Now, again, I will point out that when I switch to the cab ride video, it's about 4 to 5 seconds behind. The cab view is 4 to 5 seconds behind just because of the relay from camera to phone, phone to computer, computer to OBS, about 4 seconds. Now, one thing, if you can, coming up here as it goes around the farmhouses, the farm villages, right now, start looking down the road here. Start looking down the road right now. Oh, you can't quite see it. Well, you can see it, but it was so fast. My bus station announcement sign's running. A little sky view over Delmenhorst. And once more coming into the station. Now if I turn the camera the other way and look out the other side, you would see you'd see platforms 2 and 3 of Delmenhorst Station. But then all you would see is the rest of my house. You'd get a nice tour of the garage or the basement. But you kind of do anyhow. There's my windmill. That's another thing that windmill can work. I just have to fix the motor to it. Alright, so you can see some of my parked trains and locomotives there. Like I said, it's about 5 seconds behind. So let's go back to scene 3. Hey, Steve! 87 is here. Nice to have you, Steve. Nice to have you. Where is he again? He's just coming around. Now, I'm going to put this on the DB4 camera real quick. This is the DB4 camera. And you'll see how the camera is situated. Actually, you see the back of the camera. And I'm going to bring him to a stop here. No, not there. Here. Do it again. Bow, bow, bow. A little more there. And let's go back to scene 3. And just so I don't create any problems, I'll stop the trains real quick. Oh, wondered what that noise was. That was the air out of my water. All right, so this is how, let's go to next to Govia. This is how he's sitting in this little DB cargo car, wagon, gondola, whatever you want to call it. And you can see the lens is sitting right on the edge there, so there's no way to turn it over, but this also made it very secure, and because it's sitting in the middle, the weight really holds this wagon well. When I want to run it as a cab view, I put it on this one. The bed on this is actually higher, but the walls are lower, and I just blue tack it on, and then you get that, but you'd get that portrait view. So I just had this kind of in the middle of the train and doing passenger view that way. I kind of liked it. I thought it was cool. I can set it up and do cab view, which maybe we'll try, but it will be, in that regard, as cab view, it would be, bear with me, it would be portrait. It cannot go through my layout widescreen where, you know, the camera's horizontal. It won't do that. But okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start everybody back up. And I just got to make sure this camera doesn't fall over. So bear with me. I'm going to go to cab view. This will take a second for it to load up. There we go. So now you got cab view. DV Tech, the camera I'm using that is a GoPro Hero 9. That is a GoPro Hero 9. And I gotta be ready just in case I set this too wide and it accidentally clips the canopy. Nope, we're good through the station. You can see I actually have the station lights on. "10 inches short." Oh, the jokes that could be made about that. So if you want the cab view, what I really need to do is on OBS create some overlays where it would look like a window. So I can make this look like the train cab view. I can make this look like a driver, you know, like he's looking out his front window. To be honest, I don't quite know how to do that. I see people do it with their live streams, but I haven't been able to do, I think you got to do it as green screen. I don't know. I'm pretty wrong. Yes, Steve, over the years, maintenance crews have slacked. Yes, you will occasionally see bushes in the middle. Yep. large pieces of grass. 1 hour and you're still awake, setting a record. Way to go, Chris. Hey, yeah, David, they are normally $400 to $500. I did not pay that much. I got the camera, a spare battery, and some other stuff for $320. So, memory card, larger memory card, camera, extra battery, so 2 batteries instead of 1. And a case to hold it all in for $320. That was a lot, but yeah, if you go to GoPro online, if you actually go to GoPro USA online, they are currently selling these at lower than suggested retail price. So yeah, I didn't pay $400 for it. With shipping, well, shipping was free. But with tax, state sales tax and that, I think the total came up to about $340. And the batteries in Wi-Fi broadcast mode last about an hour and a half. They can last up to 3 hours in what regular mode, but the minute you're using them to do live streaming, they have about a 90. I think they officially say 93 minutes. I mean, they're down to that 93, not hour and a half, 93 minutes of broadcast time. Otherwise, all my other webcams, and that's why I've got it, because it's a Wi-Fi. So I could do live streaming, or I could do, also take it on vacations. There's a couple places Joyce and I have been where we would have loved to have had a small Wi-Fi cam and do a live stream of a couple of things we've done in Germany and that, just for the fun of it. So we plan on taking the GoPro to the UK, and if we find something really cool to do, we might do a live stream with our GoPro, because it would be the only camera we could actually, well, our phones could live stream too. But so I did. Between Saturday and Sunday, I probably spent 12 hours working on, 10 and a half hours. Because there was times I just stopped and really wasn't working on it, just kind of laying under there thinking. Yeah, I worked on the Fowler car system for total time was 12 hours. But there was the half hour for lunch, and then times I was just laying on my back looking at the wiring and fidgeting with stuff, but not really working. But easily 10 and a half hours of actual just putting things in, running, checking, testing, rewiring, soldering, doing all this. And I bought myself a flatbed trolley, like mechanics use to go under cars, because I just can't lay on the hard floors anymore and reach up that high. But I bought this little bedded trolley. Oh my God, what a difference that's made. My nerves still go bad, but 2 hours in, okay, 2 hours in, my hands are shaking, and but I could rest for a bit, get the nerves under control, and work more. Whereas if I were just laying on the hardwood floor, I would have hit, in an hour, the hands would have been shaking, and I would have had to come out from under the table, stand up, done some hand exercises to get the nerves under control, and then crawled back under. It was real tedious, but this little flatbed, what a difference, just the cushions and being that much higher so I'm not stretching to reach the wiring. that was $30 well spent at Harbor Freight. That was really nice. Blink, 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 blink. Oh, just went through the station. Now, because it has such a limited time, I don't know that I'll add the GoPro as one of the multi-cams in here. It's just usually going to be, okay, while it's up and running, let's go to the cab ride, you know, let's go to the cab view. And it always takes a second for it to pick up. I need to get better hills than those old store-bought wargaming Dungeons and Dragon hills. There's a camera I haven't used in several months. That's my 4K video camera that I use when I used to make my shows, but you can't live stream with it. It's not a Wi-Fi camera. But in some ways I kind of like the passenger view more than the cab view, although you probably see more things with the cab view. But probably because the passenger view feels more like what I'm used to. When I ride on trains in Germany, I'm used to that angle that the passenger view was having. So I thought that was kind of cool. So it's one of those things, just, problem is it's always 5 seconds behind. Now if you look carefully on the left here, you will see Santa Claus and his reindeer getting arrested. That's my joke scene. What I should do is go back to passenger view and then let you guys see it. In fact, I think I'll do that. You guys have never seen my one joke scene. My family has and friends have, but you guys haven't really seen the joke scene. So I'll stop this camera next time through and I'll point the camera out instead of in, and you guys can maybe have a laugh or just think I'm an idiot. I've seen a couple of pro people that have specifically said joke scenes on layouts don't belong there. It's not prototypical. You don't have humorous things happening. When you have layouts, anything, you know, it just ruins the reality of it for them. And I'm like, get a life. I wanted a joke scene on my layout, so I'll have a joke scene on my layout. You don't want a joke scene on your layout? You don't need a joke scene on your layout. Now, the negative of the big cameras, that obviously when you see it, you're like, oh my God, look at that big camera going through. But let me bring this guy to a stop. And I'm gonna have to go to the other car. Sorry, kids. Oh, let me stop everything so I don't accidentally create a short by lifting this up. I might accidentally cross metal across the tracks, and that's not a good thing. You don't want to cross streams, you know what I mean? So just bear with me here. A few mementos. I can put it in. Did I just put it in front this time? Why not? I'll just put it in front. And which way do we want it facing? We want it facing out. That should hold it in place. Yeah. I don't know how well it'll capture it, but we'll give it a try. So, anyhow, back in business. So I'm going to stop it over there. I have no idea if this will show up or not. So now I'm going to go to the cab right again. Come on in. There you go. Now it might be too high. Yep, you're getting a nice shot right into... Okay. So unfortunately that might be too high. Alright, I'm going to try something else. Well, you can see part of the scene there. Alright, I'm going to bring this guy back and change it. I probably shouldn't be doing it at that speed with you guys watching. It would drive you crazy. Oops. What car can I do this with that it would work better? I'll give it one more try. This guy. I'm not going to do the upside down thing. Do it that way. Oh, we have to try a different car. Let's go to, whoops, wrong one. Let's let you guys check all that out while I mess with this. Oh, there you are. Excuse me guys, I'm experimenting. So I'm going to shut everything down again and try something else here. This is my lowest flatbed. And now on this one I can turn it upside down and invert the feed. So we'll see how this works. Key is, will you connect? Come on, work for me, work for me. These old Roku and newer Miracle Intellics do not like to hook up. Well, alright, well, I also probably need to put a little bit of tack on here to keep it from going so far. All right, let's see how. That's not going to work that way. I need the other angle, dude. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get everybody else started up. He'll be able to push this. It just probably will go for a race. And I have to go into the camera, so bear with me, everybody. I'm probably ignoring everybody. I've really been ignoring a lot of this as I mess with this. My apologies. I'm just playing with my tech. So now it's upside down. So what we wanted to do is... And transform, rotate 180 degrees. Bingo, there we go. All right. So now let's get him in motion. Whoops, other way, other way. All this to show you something you're not going to like anyhow. But at least now I've got it set up that way. Joyce's purse. Okay. I got to remember it's 5 seconds ahead here. So we should slow it down a bit. It's still going to be a little too high, but you'll get the gist. But yeah, you're really looking into whoops. Sorry, hit the wrong button. But yes, what we have here are a party and Santa Claus. Whoops. And I gotta remember it's 5 seconds off, so that's what kills me. But fortunately I could see the screen. So we got a party and Santa Claus. I don't know if you could see how I custom made this Santa Claus, and he's got a bottle of liquor in his hand. He's also got shades on, but you can't see it from this angle. But Santa Claus and his deer were on a summer vacation, and well, they've had a little too much. You can't see the deer closest to you with the orange shirt is actually barfing. They're all wearing hats and wild stuff and chains and jewelry and mohawks, and there's cases of beer and booze. And one cop has drawn his gun. But that is the infamous joke scene. Infamous. Not that any of you care. Well, I'm sure some children might find tears when it comes down to it. Alright, so let's go to the other scenes. But there you go. That's my one joke scene on my layout. Hey, Karen, how are you? I didn't see you come in, but I really have done a lousy job paying attention to the chat today. I've been messing with everything, and I haven't been reading the chat. I apologize to all of you. If you've asked me a question and still would like it answered, just throw it in there. on the bright side, you could say, wow, he's really not talking as much as he normally does. Workday is over, time to go. On the opposite, today is my last, well, actually I'm off Monday, and then Tuesday I go back to work. But I'm going back to work here. Come on, come on. I'm just going to change this camera around, and I want to see if I can do it as a cab view with this one. This particular wagon does not like the weight of the phone standing upright. Now, first of all, I want to see if that gives interfering view. I think if I put it there, I gotta check this out, so bear with me. It's gonna be upside down, I think. No. Yeah, you kind of get a black view here because the way this car is designed, and I can't put it on the end because it tips the car. Okay, so anyhow, let's go back. And the camera just lost its connection, but it got it back. Good. Okay, so I didn't. Good. Hey, welcome, Blue Thunder Whisper Mode. How are you? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm extremely tired. Joyce and I had a great little 4 or 5 day vacation here. We took off, but we worked hard on that vacation. A lot of paddling and not that kind of paddling, although that would have been a fun vacation too. No. A lot of kayaking and tubing and horseback riding and stuff like that. So yeah, okay, you should be good, but do I need to? I think it's all good. Let me just check the view here real quick. Are we still right side up? Yes, we are. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let that guy get going again, and hopefully he will stay connected. Because the freight car, the flatbed, does not, it's an old Roco. It's not even a NEMS coupling socket. It is for what I consider old-fashioned pinned and swivel bar. So it would take a lot of work to change the coupling, and it wouldn't line up anyhow. But old Roco Telex style couplers and American Telex, old Roco, not new Roco, but old Roco, they don't connect easily. You can work it out, but they usually don't do it. So I got to watch it as it comes down this ramp to see if all of a sudden the car does break free and the camera goes on a joyride by itself. But I thought this would definitely be a slightly different view. I mean, again, you really just get to see that I haven't done anything. But to me, that view that just happened there where the ICE went flying past, whoop, I think I just heard a camera fall. Yep, I did. Where'd it go? So let's go to that. That's why I really don't like putting it on that particular one. It does so much better in the red one. But yeah, the there it is. Okay, so yeah, this. Is there any aficionado in there that wants to tell me exactly what kind of flatbed this is called? If you see the shape of it, I mean, it works great when you have just a little thing in here, but when it's got a weight on it like this camera. So we started with this last week and it kept tipping over. Hey, Jean-Ricard, how are you? It kept tipping over because this is a very lightweight bit, and when it's got weight on it and it goes into a corner, thump. So we decided this guy works the best. He fits inside. Whoops, I have to turn him the other way now. He fits inside. Let me do that on camera. He fits inside nicely. He fits perfectly inside. And then a little bit of blue tack holds him in place so it's not sliding in the car. And it's a perfect arrangement. And again, let me move this guy forward. Now I'm going to put him back in the middle of the train, which means I have to shut the trains down again. I apologize if this is annoying to you guys. I'm just experimenting and wanted to see how this looks on a live stream, including me experimenting with stuff on a live stream because, I don't. I usually like to make sure everything worked perfectly. Now, yes, I did this earlier with the gondola. It was all awesome. All right, IC3, move past so I can change it out. So those of you who were here earlier, you've seen this. I actually think it's a really cool view. Yes, it's a little higher, and it goes through the station. You don't see the station as well, I guess. But it is what it is. Shall be what it shall be. There we go. And then, I put him in the middle. He goes between the first class and second class cars. Anyhow, let's turn it back on, and we'll go back to that. Now I have to go back and flip the camera again. But, it's been, whoop. You may have seen that, you may not have. Come back! Come back, Billy! I tested you, you said you were connected. Dude, what's up with that? There, now you're connected. Stay connected. Okay. Well, we will get him going again here. And then when I feel like he's running smooth, I'll go into the camera mode again and switch it. Because I do have to turn the picture back up the other way now. So, bingo, there we go. But yeah, I can't tell you other than, obviously it's an incomplete layout build, but just some of the views are so reminiscent of my trips in Germany where I'm sitting on a seat, especially in a double-decker upper level, and this is what you're seeing as you go through. You're seeing above certain trains. You're seeing the platforms like this. You're seeing across the rows of houses in a building. So I do think in a lot of ways, I mean, if this were being done on a full, complete layout, I think it would be an awesome view. Because everybody likes the cab view, and I'm doing today the passenger view. Which, again, if you're a passenger on a train, you're more likely to see things this way. So yeah, if I had better scenery and more scenery up correctly, but either way, and like that angle where you see the metronome coming up on you, I just love this because I have been in stations, I've been pulling into towns, and this is exactly what it looks like. Going into Hamburg, where they both roll around. You actually, when you go into Hamburg station, you have a curve you go through. So this is very reminiscent, and you have trains next to you pulling in with you and going 2 platforms over. Oh, the central, the České dráhy, the Czech Railjet's cab is still on. I'll have to go turn that off. But yeah, I mean, it's just something different. Hey, welcome Mark Hemmeldown. Hey, you're not knighted, so let's get you knighted. I'm not at the, whoops. Hey now. I know to clear you knight of the rhomboid table. Oh, yeah, that stupid wire reach. You can't keep going off like that. Just checking the Fowler car. Oh, you keep going off. Something there's got to be there for you. Yeah, you're just running off. Okay. Ah, well, I gave it a try. I'm going to have to rewire that section, I think. If I'm going to try the Fowler car system again, I'm just going to have to redo that wire. Alright, let's, because the battery's going to die in a few minutes on this anyhow. Is it? Yeah, it's about time. So let's go back to the multi-view, although I really should be letting you guys check all kinds of cams out. Got all these cams going, but yeah, Mark, everybody's here, probably heard me say it for the 8th or 9th time. Yeah, I just got a GoPro and it's Wi-Fi, so it allows me to do, I could do cab view, but it's a little harder. I have to do portrait cab view. But I decided to mess with it and do what I call the passenger view, which is if you ride on trains, you're more likely to see it. So if I had a layout that was really developed and all kinds of scenery, I think it would really be brilliant. But maybe some of you that got great layouts or more scenery than I have on mine, then maybe you can take this idea if you have a, like, even if it's not live streaming. But, I have a, there he is. A couple of years ago, well, I don't know how long ago it was, but I was watching Graham at Lakeside Railway, And Graham was using a Polaroid Cube, and Cottesmore, David Jones, Cottesmore, I think also had one, and they were doing running sessions that they would film and then post on YouTube with the cubes. And so I was able to get this for $50 because this is Cube Act 2. This was the one that's not Wi-Fi. There was a Cube 2. This is the Act 2. But the Cube 2, this is the Polaroid Cube Act 2. The Cube 2 had Wi-Fi in it. And it had an app, and then with a little trickery, you could live stream through the app. But the app has been discontinued, from what I understand. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I have a Polaroid Cube that I would do a film, before I started doing live streams. And I would occasionally do a cab view through the layout, and I've got a lot more on the layout now than I had back then. See, I called it a layout. I had a lot more on it than I did back then, and these are awesome. These are awesome. The cubes are awesome. You just can't live stream with them. So I've always wanted one that I could throw on a live stream. Once I started putting all these cameras up for my live feeds, I decided I wanted to be able to do it during a live stream. And the GoPro, I've been looking at some of these security cameras. So you can get some of these small security cameras, babysitter cams, nanny cams as they call them, which are wireless and Bluetooth. And I think I now know, that sounded positive, didn't it? That I can probably, through third-party systems, which is how I'm getting the GoPro on right now. The GoPro goes to my phone. To get it on OBS, I have to get my phone on. Well, I don't have my phone on OBS, but the app on my phone, you have to use a third-party RTMP server, and I use one called Mona server. And what Mona does, now you have to do it in steps. Mona acts as a server that picks up your RTMP stream signal, and then you use I use VLC because OBS has a VLC reader built into it. If you don't know what VLC is, it's a media player. So Mona sends the camera signal to VLC, and then when you turn on VLC and play the live stream on VLC, OBS can read the VLC live stream. Now, because you're going through third and fourth party, it's going from camera to phone to Mona to VLC to OBS. But believe it or not, now it sounds complicated, but I did it, which means it wasn't. But that's the easiest way to get the stream, the OBS, onto it. Now the GoPro, to get the GoPro on OBS. Now the GoPro can live stream by itself straight to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. What's the other one? I haven't been on it so long. But anything that allows you to live feed, the GoPro can, you can straight live feed, and you don't have to go through third party. Like I could take the GoPro and I could set up another live stream on YouTube with it right now, and just YouTube would read the GoPro signal. I don't have to go through the phone. I don't have to do anything else. The camera would do it by itself. But to live stream with it through another party like OBS, you have to use the app. But to get it into OBS, you have to get it into the VLC player. And to do that, you have to have the RTMP server. And I'm sure some of you are going, wait, you're not explaining that correctly. And others of you are going, what the hell are you talking about? I'm in the middle. I understand it. I may be using incorrect terminology, but I use Mona server, and that picks up the Wi-Fi signal. The VLC reads the Mona server, and then the OBS reads the VLC. Now, literally, I watched a 5-minute video and I had it going in 2 minutes. I had it working in 2 minutes. Otherwise, like my regular live streaming cameras, I mean, I've got a couple of $20 El Cheapos, a couple of, I think the most expensive webcam I have is a $49.99 Logitech, which would now cost you about $100 because Logitechs have doubled in price because of shipment issues in China because of COVID. Even this 4K camera up here, which I think gives the best pictures, although this one's actually a pretty good picture, but this one is high definition. It broadcasts, even though I'm broadcasting in 1080p, it's a 4K camera. This guy right here, not that one, this one. So you really get nice definition in this picture, and this is a generic one. And I paid $45 for this one, $44.99 on Amazon. Yeah, Heath, there is a paid one. There is one that costs $80 a year, like just under $7 a month. One fee of $80 or $6.57 or whatever over 12 months. But yeah, there is a paid one. I, especially heading into retirement here where my pay is going to go down, I don't want to pick up another monthly bill. Yeah, I don't think genre card. It worked. We talked Joyce into I broke her down and she let me buy the GoPro. I don't think she's going to let me go with another GoPro or two. I think we're going to have to be satisfied with the one here. We're just going to have to enjoy the one. Now, I will say, if you are so desperate for that idea to bear fruition and want multiple GoPro streams happening on my YouTube, then I will happily accept free donations of more GoPros, along with the free donation of a better CPU for my computer that could handle all of that. I'll set up a GoFundMe account. Buy Anthony Dodge lots of GoPros. Yeah, no, I got one GoPro. I'm a happy camper. Speaking of which, let's check in on the cab ride as he's coming around. I guess the same view after a while. What I should do is mess with stuff and move it around so every time it comes past, you're like, wait, was that there? Oh, change the tracks of the camera. Yeah, I actually could do that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I could put the car, well, I could put it on the front of the railjet. I think the scenery would be the same, though. I could not add it to the. The ICE3. It does not have couplings. But I can also turn the camera around on the carts in, and you would see the other stuff. It's just if I turn it the other way, you would see the other platforms. but you really wouldn't see much else. That's why I did that one view where I was showing the reindeer and Santa Claus getting arrested, just because, well, just because. I should turn these off now, since I'm not. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave that on, and just one more time, for those of you who didn't see it the first time, I'm going to do something, a little bit of fun here in a moment, once he comes around again. I'll do it one more time. So, I gotta remember he's 5 seconds behind. We're going dark again. Now you're not gonna see anything. It's black. I just turned on all the lights. But in a second, you're gonna very quickly, hang on, maybe I can even slow him down a bit. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Right there, right there. It'll take you 5 seconds to get to what I'm reacting to. Stop. Okay. There, that is a view which in Delmenhorst is called Bahnhofstrasse. I don't know how well you can see it, but if you can see those little bluish lights, that's actually the bus and train schedules for the Delmenhorst station. And they're real time. They read off the Delmenhorst internet through Deutsche Bahn. So if you look straight through, you can actually see the bus schedules. Now, I can't zoom in, obviously, but yeah, so that is at the bus station itself, but it has the bus and train schedules of the station behind it that is tied in real time with the city of Delmenhorst, with the actual Delmenhorst station. A gentleman named Dale Schultz made those for me, and then it's his program and system that allows it to work. Now, of course, nothing else in my city is lit up, so all you're seeing is darkness now, I know. You can see a little bit of me reflected. But now, as you're coming around, yeah, you can see the bus station lit up and coming into the train station. Let me see if I can slow this down just a bit. Stop, stop, stop. Did we get it? Yeah, there we go. So there you get a little scene. You can see some of my people. You would have to go back about a year and a half and see how I didn't do it live, but there were a series of building videos I put up where I built the station. This is all scratch built, other than the signs came out of a Fowler platform, it was a Fowler platform kit. But everything else was scratch built out of plastic and wood. Well, you can't read the sign there because I didn't make those signs light up. But the lights, there are speakers in the canopies there. You can see obviously where the lights shine above, but those canopies in real life are open like that. They're actually open like that in reality too. But there are speakers inside there, so you could actually hear German station announcements that I recorded at Delmenhorst playing on there. Don't do it. And then one last shot at the bus station, and then yeah, that station, if you're relatively new to the channel, that station and the bus depot are from an actual city in Delmenhorst. All scratch built by me. The last thing I'll ever scratch build, because the nerve damage in my fingers and the tremors just But it is the city of Delmenhorst, Germany, Delmen. I suppose I could type it in. It's Delmenhorst, Germany, which is technically a suburb of Bremen, although it's actually more like 9 miles west of Bremen. Delmenhorst is 9 miles due west of the center of Bremen. I also think that by putting the camera, and I'll go to the station, well, not the station view, the village view camera, I actually felt that putting the little trolley in the middle of the train made it stand out a little less. It was less blatant than when it's stuck on the front of the locomotive. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. Me, when I'm watching a train doing a cab view, the cab view itself is great, but when you're looking at the train with that big camera in the front, it kind of detracts, if that makes sense. Putting it in the middle like this, I think it's less it's less blatant. It doesn't stand out as much. But yeah, the station is, I would call it 100% accurate. Even those light posts, which are from Wiesmann, those light posts are the exact ones that are on the Delmenhorst platforms. But as always, a little late. Yeah, Jean Ricard, yeah. I spent every June from 2003 to 2016 in Delmenhorst. Plus I did a week in September of 2004. I led an exchange program of students, as you know. So yeah, Delmenhorst was where I spent the month of June with my students. It was a great deal for my students. They had, all they had to pay was airfare, and everything else they got in Germany was free because we had an exchange program, so their room and board was with their host family. So they stayed with a family for free, and then the family you stayed with, you had to host their child. So the kids were the same grades. So you'd have 15-year-old American kid would stay with the 15-year-old German kid, and then the German kid would come and stay in Toledo for a couple of weeks with the American kid. So it really was a great deal for my students, because my students were working class kids. We were an urban school district, middle class neighborhood, working class and middle class neighborhood at the time. Now it's, well, the middle class kids don't go to the school anymore, so we're working class and poor. Like when I started teaching at my high school, which I started there in 2002, and then that was the year this group came in and said, hey, would you like to start an exchange program to Germany? In 2002 I started there, and it was the neighborhood high school. My oldest daughter, my first year teaching at Bowsher High School was her freshman year, her first year at Bowsher High School. So I taught my kids, which was awesome. I taught my kids for many years, and it was amazing. But probably 80% of the kids in this housing development went to Bowsher back then. Now, maybe 5% go to Bowsher because they changed the school district lines, the border lines. They closed the high school and merged it with Bowsher, and a lot of the people in this neighborhood didn't like that, so now they send their kids to charter schools or private schools and all that. Well, hi there. You all right?
Meadows faster everywhere.
Yes, there is, and believe it, they vacuumed up all they could, and there's still tons.
Hi, everybody.
You want me to turn the camera? Here, we'll get you on view here. All right.
So, yeah, it's just trying to get things back to normal.
Well, hello, Engager.
Normal.
And Engager Life.
Hey.
Are you engaged?
Oh, so anyway.
So that whole side, Sean Ricard, that whole side will be the city of Delmenhorst. Many of the buildings there are already scratch built or kit bashing, and they are actual buildings of Delmenhorst. It's just they're not all accurate. The block is accurate to Delmenhorst, but not all the models. But you got the chat going there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're all good there.
Yeah, Joseph, it's just been very, very hectic. Very hectic.
So now we have to knight somebody again. And now declare you knighted around the
Loading
table.
phone, yeah, well, you know, for a teacher I don't project very well, so he's got to get the
Well, you're definitely wheezy now. You've been sweeping up dust, so there's no way you're not able to breathe.
Right.
I'm shocked you're not blue. Yeah, you're totally wheezy, and I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, so
We have to go to a party in what, half an hour? What time? 6
I'd
o'clock.
totally be there by 6.
All right, so we got to get off at 5:30 here. Yeah, 5:35.
Yeah, still need to cut up onion and pepper.
Oh, okay.
So people wanted add-ins.
Yeah, the camera is still going, maybe, or has it died off yet? No, it says it's still going. I want you to see this. Everybody else has seen this, but check out the.
Yeah, the side view.
We call it the passenger view.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's cool.
It's really cool going through the station.
Of course it is.
Yeah. It even has Jean Ricard's approval.
Yeah, you see, you don't see the little things on the side normally, so it's cool that you have deer in there and.
Well, this is the part. This scenery right here is what I like, because how many times have we actually had this view, like going into like Hamburg, where we're on one train and the other one's passing us going in or coming out of the station.
We cannot point to the house we lived in Delmenhorst. Well, you didn't make that one yet.
No, I haven't made that. Good question. I don't know.
It is a very deep sound.
There's a deep scrape.
Make sure your camera's okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. It's falling.
I know the railjet sometimes makes a heavier bounce
the
sound over
border is
there.
open and kind of.
Is it? Did the border open?
Oh, it's kind of a little too late. And let's face it, with the deviant, it's not right. Yeah, with Delta, it's probably not going to stay open very long.
Oh, that's the camera saying we're dying.
Yeah, okay. It's singing.
Sorry, guys. The camera just said I'm done.
Done.
The camera's battery. Now, it actually lasted close to 2 hours.
Yeah, a decent amount. Yeah.
Lasted close to 2 hours. But yeah, the battery has died.
Good. Oh, he tried to call you? Mr. Fish. Does Chris have your phone number?
So yeah, battery died, but so no more of those cab view shots. Sorry guys, the battery died. I mean, I can change. I've got the spare battery charged, but I've got to get off in a few minutes anyhow, because we have to go to this family function.
Well, yeah, it's kind of the best way for everybody to see my sister. She has, my brother-in-law's brother died of COVID, and so they are bringing his ashes into Toledo so they can, you know, have kind of a small service for him for the family that's up here. So.
No, they haven't been up
nice
here in a
to see
while.
you. Yeah, I haven't been here for a while. So it's
All right,
nice.
Roy, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, we never had a big crew today, but we had the good people here.
Oh, that's nice of the good people. Hit that like button before you leave, y'all.
Hit that like button before you
Little
leave.
Lazy came out. Thank you, whoever just said it.
Yeah, Little Daisy. That was more
Little
Daisy.
Daisy came in there.
That was a little dollop of Daisy.
Little dollop of Daisy. Oh, you're working very good. Oh, she's not so much of a next one. Oh, she has a little bit. That's right. And Daisy's a little
I
bit.
wish they had opened it because we were thinking of going to Niagara Falls, and we
Right.
go up to Detroit and across Canada that way because it's
Right.
faster and easier
Right.
than driving through Pittsburgh and Erie and
Right.
Buffalo and everything on the other side.
Right.
Because once you get past Windsor, it's really nothing until you get to Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. We
Good.
get some
I'm
good
glad
views.
it worked out well.
And the locomotive pulling the IC is not proper.
Okay.
You know, that's my old Class 146-2 is pulling the IC, and
Okay.
they would never pull an IC. They only pull regionals.
Well,
But
I bet if you didn't.
it's a strong locomotive.
I bet if you didn't tell anybody, maybe you wouldn't even know.
Yeah. Oh, I think most of the people watching would not know.
Yeah.
You might get a German
You
rivet
get away-
counterpoint.
you
That's
get
not
away
right,
with
but none of the American guys come in anymore.
Yeah, the trains wasn't interesting enough.
All right, Chris, take care. Yeah, we're going to be shutting down in about 4 minutes because, like I said, we got to be somewhere by 6. Now, we're at Tom's, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to Tom's.
Yeah, so where we're going is only 5 minutes away,
Yeah,
10 minutes away. We're going at her brother, the one who's got ALS.
he's moving to assisted living in a couple of weeks, so he needs it. Okay, that's nice.
But yeah, I like those side views. I was messing with different things. Well, no, you didn't come down. I put it on this guy again. Oh, where is he? I don't think anybody ever answered. You know, whatever type of flatbed this is called, where it's the. Did somebody answer this and I just missed it? What kind of flatbed or gondola this is called? Where it, kind of forms a little U. I see they use these a lot with the some of the nuclear stuff, but this wasn't a nuclear one. This carried a 20-foot container car. But I see these kind of where they kind of form a short view. But I put it on here and it gave a great view. I finally showed off the Santa Claus scene.
Cool.
But as soon as it went down here around the corner, thump off.
Okay.
So I don't know. I could.
Not good to bounce the camera.
This is not my favorite car, but I got this from Herb, and it's cool as a freight car in the
You
train.
use the blue stuff, right?
Well, that's just it. Even with the blue stuff, it tipped over.
Steve says it's a depressed flat car.
A depressed. Well, maybe we should try to cheer it up.
That's why I was just going, please, to make it happier.
You're a good flat car. You do good things. Nope, he's still depressed.
Yeah, my stupid choice, Paul.
Thank you. I'm here all week. Try the veal.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
now we're back at school next week. I'm hoping things calm down when we get back to work. Really, am I?
Okay, well, let's go ahead and start wrapping things up and getting it shut off
I gotta
here.
cut
I know
stuff.
it was a short visit, but, well, for you, by you.
Well, yeah, I had to shower fast.
I was gross.
Yeah, the AJ's window was open.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know you'd opened it.
I hadn't.
Oh, they must have.
Well, I guess so. You know, I'm sure this was a very, very hot job for them.
I gotta get those diesel units back out running. They haven't run in a couple weeks. I've been running all those little short
I thought you were gonna
trains.
play the diesel when we had our diesels or our steam.
No. Steamers.
Yeah.
I'm talking the little diesel, the DMUs. They've been parked for like 3 weeks now. I've been running all these little 2-car setups with the Class 143 or the Beethoven locomotive. All right, guys, we are going to cut it. I mean, technically, I always try to end at 5:30, but I wind up going to 6. Well, once Joyce comes down, all kind of new stuff happens and everything vibes up again. But anyhow, all of you, once again, I want to thank all of you for coming to the stream tonight. I hope you enjoyed me messing with the new camera. I'm sorry if it was annoying at times, bouncing back and forth, trying to mess with it. But we're going to say to everybody, Auf Wiedersehen and Tschüss, and happy trains. Take care.